Hey guys, Sebastian here again. This is going to be chapter, I believe, yeah, chapter 6. Again, keeping it to 10, 15 minutes tops. I don't want to bore you guys too much. I know sometimes it gets too long. So this one I'm going to talk about more about my loss of body mobility, something that really like mentally was super hard on me. Again, as I mentioned before, I was very active. I was always in the gym. I worked at a gym, and I just loved that culture. I really did. And coming from being to do all these gymnastics and rings and doing all these weird moves and jumping and going crazy jump rope, to where I was just bedridden, literally, for a long time. I mean, it was about 3 months where I was just fully like in bed. Like I got up here and there a little bit, then slowly started being able to walk. But then I wasn't really able to run again for like about a year and a half. It took me, I think, a year and a half to run, like to actually jog, not even run, to jog like half a mile or something. So, this is going to be maybe not too long, but I just want to kind of give you like exactly what I felt. You know, Again, when I started losing my functions of my body, it was very strange because my mind would tell my body to do something, but my body wouldn't do it. Or if it did very limited. So I remember trying to go like this, just going like this. My body, like I would tell it like go here, and this is as far as it would go. And I would go and I just couldn't. Same with my legs. I would tell my like kind of like walk, and then my body would walk, but then there'd be a point where my body was like, dude, like you gotta stop. Like my mind, my hands, like it was hard for me to do a lot of these things. I was literally just in bed, and just the effect of this not being able to move my body and just be kind of like partially paralyzed. And I do say kind of vegetable because my mind again was not working correctly at all. I was extremely depressed. Extreme anxiety was through the roof. And I was super depressed. Like I went to the biggest, darkest depression. Again, my mind took me to in a very dark area. I was having hallucinations still from time to time, and I didn't even know if it was real or not. I didn't know what was going on. And yeah, I think the nightmares was probably the thing that really blew me away. It was a lot of nightmares, a lot. And so I was not having, my hell was literally in real life, and in dream life, I was having nightmares. So either way I looked at it, I was living hell. Came to a point where I was just so fed up with me not going, being so stagnant, the loss of my body. I mean, it was just there that I decided, I actually thought about just kind of like ending it there, if you know what I mean. I said, there's no way. I think I mentioned this in the other video, but also there's no way that my whole life is going to be like this forever. By this point, I had lost a crap ton of weight. Again, I was never really like crazy huge or, bulky, but I used to weigh like around 148, 150, around that area. At the time I was weighing, like I went down like 20 pounds, 25 pounds, like in a matter of like a month or 2 months. I was weighing like 128, I guess. Obviously my body is not absorbing any food. I went down to like 128, 127, I think maybe even 125. And all that really impacted me because at the time, I really identified myself with the way I looked. That was like my identity. I had two identities, which one, I'm a musician, music producer, and then another thing was my body. And I guess, all these things play a role, in life. You always want to be like the strong guy, the alpha, etc. All these things that, they just the way humanity works. And I was really like pretty much obsessed with that mindset of how I looked physically, and I think this is why I pushed myself so hard. And me looking myself in the mirror at the time, just looking complete like trash, just completely pale, like bags under my eyes, like my hands were like this, like clawed and shit. I was like, holy crap, like this is it, like, damn, like it is what it is. And it took a while for me to get rid of that, which is really interesting. was really interesting, the whole process of me accepting my body, how it is, and understanding that, you know, that identity that I had created was not who I really was, you know. And obviously at the time I did not see it like that, obviously. And that's where I thought, you know, I'm not gonna live like this for the rest of my life. I'm just gonna pretty much end it here. And that thought came to me a lot of times. I remember one time specifically, I fell asleep and I was so happy. And I actually had a dream. It wasn't a nightmare. And I was so happy in the dream that I was like, oh my God, like I'm healed, I'm cured, I'm cured. And then I would wake up with the biggest stomach pain on the planet. And it was freaking dreadful, to a point where I couldn't even think, because it was so painful. And that's where I said, you know what? I'd rather just die than live like this for the rest of my life. Like, I'm done with this crap. Because this was about like fourth month in, where I was still very sick. Or yeah, third month in. And I said, you know what? This is where something came into like my mind. And I was like, dude, either, you know, if you stay like this forever, first, before you decide to like end it, you have to freaking like give it your all and figure out what the hell is wrong with you. Because clearly no one's going to do it for you. I mean, yes, I got answers from like my meditation teacher, but obviously she couldn't be taking care of me 24/7. It's not something possible. My mom had to work, my dad's working, my stepmom's working, my sister's working. They all have to provide for themselves. And they were providing for me at the time. So, you know, I was like, okay, what the heck do I do? And this is where I figured that I needed to get down in it and figure it out. And this is probably the biggest lesson for me personally in this was, you know, literally accepting kind of like where I was going, and understanding this was going to be a long journey if I wanted to live. But thankfully, I've always been a person that I've always kind of enjoyed life, and I love life, to be honest, regardless of everything that's happened to me, and regardless, you know, of the limitations that I have with diet. I love life. Like, life is amazing. Even though all this stuff you're seeing on TV right now with, like, you know, C-19 and people losing their minds and extremists and all this bull crap that makes no sense to me. Like, I've always loved life. So I was like, dude, you know what? If you're gonna do it, just give it your all. And if in a year you're still like crap, then whatever. Just, it is what it is. Just finish it. And thankfully, I stuck with it. And you know, again, going from being like super fit and super healthy, doing all these amazing things with working out and pushing my body to the limits, to pretty much be bedridden. That was probably one of the hardest things for me that I had to deal with. And yeah, it was just something, again, just seeing your body not functioning. It was very, very interesting. And I truly hope no one ever has to go through that. But if you do, know that the human body is insanely powerful. Your mind is so powerful. Your stomach is super important. That's something that I'm going to mention later on. But yeah, I'm going to end this here. I just want to kind of make an emphasis on how losing the function of my body affected me, especially psychologically. And it took me to really dark corners and really dark areas where I didn't really know one could go. You know, it was really interesting. So I guess I went to quote unquote hell in my mind and back. And it was a very interesting place to be. I never want to be there again, ever. So yeah, not doing that again. But anyway, guys, thank you so much again for staying tuned, and I will see you in the next one. And I really appreciate your time.